I'm Lucian Cook and I'm a Director in Savills Residential Research Department. I'm going to talk to you about our residential property focus for the fourth quarter of 2012, which contains our house price forecasts. As we look forward for the next 5 years, prices are on average 11% below where they were in 2007, though on an inflation-adjusted basis, they're 24% below where they were 5 years ago. In the last 2 years, they've been broadly static. What is really important, though, is a lack of mortgage debt, and the effect of the recession has left us with some big regional variations. London prices are at or above levels they were 5 years ago, whilst in the northeast they're some 20% below where they were. Looking forward, given an uncertain economic recovery, but the prospect of increases in interest rates towards the back end of the period, we expect prices to rise by 11.5% across the 5 years as a whole, with relatively low levels of price growth in the short term. Nonetheless, we expect a continuation of regional variation that reflects the distribution of housing wealth and the profile of the projected economic recovery. As a result, we expect price growth of 20% in London and the South East, compared to just 5 to 6% in the north of England. House prices are one part of the picture, transactions are the other. We expect these to rise by 1/3 over the period of the next 5 years, though this would still leave them about a quarter below where they were pre-credit crunch. Transaction levels in different price brackets will reflect the distribution of housing wealth. The under 35s, who have low levels of owner occupation and are much more likely to be renting, control just about 4% of the housing wealth of the UK. By contrast, the over 55s, who owner-occupy about 77% of their housing stock, there is significant levels of equity, about 2/3 of the total housing wealth. And that means in different price bands we'll see different levels of transactions. For example, under £150,000, we expect transactions to rise by about 28%, whereas above £1 million, we expect them to rise by 3/4, some 74%. This reflects an outperformance in the prime market. The prime London market has seen price growth of 14.6% over the period of the past 5 years, but faces some challenges in the short term. Reduced global economic forecasts and levels of wealth generation, a lack of city bonus money amongst domestic buyers, and an imposition of tax charges above £2 million. Therefore, we think that in the short term, that market has relatively little capacity for further price growth, although across the period of the next 5 years, with sound fundamentals, we expect prices to grow by some 24%. That market is likely to set the tone and a ripple effect into the prime regional markets that have struggled somewhat to date. Over the next 5 years, we expect to see those generate price growth of 15%. But we expect it to come first to the southeast Uber towns, the likes of Guildford and Beaconsfield and Sevenoaks, before filtering into the wider commuter zone, and then much later into the second home markets or the prime owner-occupied markets of Midlands, the North and Scotland. So for more details on the housing market and for a copy of our full report, you can go to savills.co.uk/focus. And within that document, you'll find more commentary covering areas such as what we expect to happen in the rentals market and how our forecasts have an impact on development and house building.